The sky turned red dot above the desert colony on planet Kalos. Alarm screamed. Smoke climbed toward the stars, where human and alien ships were already firing at each other. Captain Raylan Burke, a 42-year-old human war veteran, jumped from his bunk the moment he heard the alert. His heart pounded. Not because of the attack, but because this wasn't supposed to happen. Not today. Raylan had come to Kalos to help build peace between humans and the alien race known as the Inari. But something had gone wrong. Horribly wrong. He grabbed his sidearm and rushed out. All units, report to defense stations. Civilians to shelters. As he moved through the chaos, a giant explosion shook the sky. A nearby tower collapsed in flames. Dust and metal filled the air. Raylan shouted into his comm. Who fired first? Who broke the treaty? No one had answers. Out of the smoke, an Inari squad charged. They weren't running toward him. They were running from something. A monstrous drone burst through the air behind them, firing green plasma. It didn't care who it hit. Human, alien, didn't matter. Raylan dove for cover as the ground exploded. That's not Inari tech, he muttered. What the hell is going on? Minutes later, a group of Inari soldiers surrounded him. He raised his hands, showing he wasn't here to fight. Their leader, a tall female Inari with silver skin and glowing green eyes, stared at him. You're human, she said in a quiet voice. But you wear no insignia. I'm not your enemy. Raylan said, something's wrong. This isn't war. It's a setup. She narrowed her eyes. You speak like someone who knows. Raylan lowered his hands. I do. Before he could say more, she walked closer. The way she moved, the look in her eyes, something about her felt familiar, strange. I know you, she said suddenly. Staring deep into his eyes, Raylan blinked. What? She stepped back. You can't be. The other Inari raised their weapons, but she held out a hand to stop them. What is it? One of them asked. The tall female Inari walked around. Raylan, examining him like a ghost, had appeared in front of her. Your face, she said. Your voice, your eyes. Raylan frowned. You're not making sense. She looked up, her voice shaking. Do you know the name Ilari? Raylan froze. That name, it hit him like a punch to the chest. Ilari, his little sister. Long ago, she had been taken during a space raid. Their parents searched for years but never found her. The government listed her as presumed dead. But Raylan never stopped hoping. Where did you hear that name? He asked, voice trembling. The woman stepped closer, placing a trembling hand on his chest. That's my name. Raylan took a step back in shock. No, that's not possible. I was taken by raiders, she whispered. Sold to the Inari. They changed me. Gave me this body, this face. But I remember you. Raylan's mind swirled, her voice. The way she looked at him. The name, the memories. He stared at her, really looked. And beneath the alien silver skin, under the glowing eyes, he saw the little girl he once swore to protect. His sister? Ilari? He whispered. She nodded slowly, tears building in her glowing eyes. Brother. Suddenly, another explosion rocked the area. The moment was broken. A drone flew overhead, scanning the ruins. It wasn't targeting anyone yet, but it would soon. Raylan grabbed Ilari's hand. We need to move, he said. Now. She didn't resist. As they ran for cover together, one thing was clear. This war wasn't about territory. It wasn't about humans versus aliens. Someone wanted them all dead. And now, brother and sister, once torn apart, were right in the middle of it. Together again. But for how long? The two ran through burning ruins, dodging falling metal and sparks. Smoke filled the air, and the sky above Kalos was still flashing with fire. But Raylan wasn't thinking about the war anymore. He was thinking about her. Ilari, his sister, changed, yes. Alien in body, maybe. But her eyes, her voice, the way. She said his name, it all felt real. Too real. They ducked into a half-destroyed bunker. Raylan pulled a metal door shut behind them. It was quiet inside except for the sound of their heavy breathing. Ilari leaned against the wall, touching her head. "They'll come for us," she said. "We can't stay here long." Raylan nodded, still staring at her. "How did this happen?" "I saw your picture every day for 30 years. Then today, you're suddenly here on the other side of a war?" She met his eyes. "I wasn't supposed to live. The raiders took me from Earth and sold me to a lab. Not human, not Inari, just scientists with money and no rules." Raylan clenched his fists. "They experimented on you?" "They broke me," she said softly, "then built me again. New skin, new blood. They wanted to create a hybrid who could survive any world. The Inari bought the project. But I remembered. I always remembered Earth and you." Raylan's jaw tightened. "Why didn't you try to contact us?" Ilari's face darkened. "Because I wasn't allowed. I was property. Then I escaped. I joined the Inari rebellion and told them what I was. They didn't fully trust me, but I earned their respect. Until today. Until this attack." Raylan's voice dropped. "You think someone planned this?" She nodded. "Yes, someone wants this war. Humans and Inari were finally talking peace. But then this strike happened. By machines that belonged to neither side." Raylan took a deep breath. "False flag war." "What?" Fake war. Someone starts the fight, blames someone else, and watches both sides destroy each other." Ilari walked over and looked him in the eyes. "And while we're all busy dying, they win." Raylan looked away, mind racing. "Do you have any proof? Logs? Data? Anything that shows who's behind?" "It?" Ilari hesitated. "I stole something before the battle started. I didn't know what it was, but now I think it's important." She pulled out a small silver device from her belt. Raylan took it, flipped it open, and scanned the contents on his wristpad. His eyes widened. "This is Inari tech," he said. "But it's recording human command transmissions, encrypted ones. Someone is leaking data both ways." "Someone." "High up," Ilari added. "Someone who wants this war." Raylan looked at the screen. The name that popped up made his heart sink. General Varric Trent, a human. Raylan had served under him before. Loyal, cold, efficient. But this was treason. "I need to get this to command," Raylan said. "Someone on our side needs to see this. Someone who can stop this before more people die." "You won't get far," Ilari warned. "You're wanted now. The Inari saw you with me. They'll call you a traitor. And what about you?" "I've already been called." "Worse," she said with a weak smile. They shared a small moment of quiet. Raylan broke it. "I can't believe I found you after 30 years. And now we're caught in the middle of a war neither of us started." She reached out and touched his shoulder. "Maybe that's why we found each other, to stop it." Outside, the sounds of boots grew louder. Enemy scouts. Raylan loaded his pistol. "Can you fight?" Ilari smirked and pulled out her blade, a glowing plasma dagger. "I didn't survive 30 years by being gentle." The metal door exploded. Raylan and Ilari dropped into cover. Lasers filled the air. Side by side, brother and sister fought like one. Raylan's aim was deadly. Ilari moved like a shadow, silent and fast. The enemies fell quickly. When the smoke cleared, both stood tall again. Blood on their boots, a bond in their hearts. Raylan looked at her. "We have to move." "Now?" Ilari nodded. "Then let's end this war, together." And With that, they vanished into the ruins, two survivors, one secret, and a deadly truth that could destroy everything. Or save it. Raylan and Ilari moved through the dark ruins, careful not to make noise. The fires behind them lit the sky, but ahead was only blackness. The sounds of battle were fading. That meant the attackers were moving on, or worse, waiting. Raylan checked. The stolen data again. If this is right, we need to reach the outpost at Ridge 17. There's a secure uplink there. We can send the proof straight to command. Ilari looked uncertain. It's controlled by human forces. I know the captain there, Raylan said. He'll listen. Are you sure? She asked. What if he's already part of it? Raylan paused. Then we're dead before we walk in. Still, they kept moving as they climbed through broken metal halls and across cracked ground. Raylan couldn't stop glancing at her. Ilari, his sister. She moved like a soldier, but there was a sadness in her eyes. She was changed, yes, but he could feel the same girl he remembered inside her after nearly 30 years. He had found her again, and now she was the only person he trusted. Suddenly, she stopped. Raylan raised his weapon. What is it? She held up a hand. Someone's nearby. A moment later, a young human soldier stumbled out from behind a wrecked transport, holding a rifle. Don't shoot, he yelled. I'm with the 14th Recon Captain Burke? Raylan blinked. Yeah, that's me. The soldier lowered his gun. Sir, thank the stars. We thought you were dead. Command said you went missing after the strike. Raylan stepped forward. Listen, soldier, we don't have much time. What's the situation at Ridge 17? It's under heavy lockdown, the soldier said. General Trent ordered total silence. No outgoing messages allowed. He says it's to prevent enemy spies. Raylan cursed under his breath. That's exactly what he wants. No messages means no one can expose him. The soldier looked confused. Expose who? Raylan was about to explain when Ilari suddenly stepped between them. He's lying. What? Raylan turned to her. She pointed at the soldier's badge. That Markanari intelligence uses that symbol when impersonating humans. The soldier's eyes widened. You filthy alien, before he could finish. He raised his weapon. Ilari was faster. Her plasma dagger cut through the rifle like paper. The soldier screamed and fell back, clutching his arm. Ryan aimed at him. Start talking. Who sent you? The man sneered. You're too late. Both sides already believe you're traitors. There's no one left to trust. Raylan narrowed his eyes. We'll see about that. He motioned to Ilari. She knocked the man out with one quick strike. Raylan wiped sweat from his brow. This goes deeper than I thought. They've already planted agents on both sides, Ilari said. This war isn't just starting, it's being controlled. Raylan nodded slowly. Then we'll just have to break their control. They reached an old communication relay a few kilometers from Ridge 17. It was offline, but the parts were still there. Raylan opened a panel. We'll bypass the main uplink and send the data through an old emergency line, he explained. It'll take longer, but it can't be blocked easily. Ilari looked around. And if they find us while we wait, then we fight. He connected the data chip and began the transfer. Lights blinked. A timer appeared on the screen. Transfer. In progress -5 minutes. That's when the gunfire started. Raylan ducked. They found us. 3 black armored soldiers appeared from the ridge. Not human. Not ENAR. Something else. Cover me. Raylan shouted. Ilari threw a smoke grenade and leapt into battle. Her movements were like wind silent, deadly. Raylan fired from behind the console, protecting the signal. 1 minute passed, then 2. Blood hit the dirt. Ilari was hit in the shoulder but kept moving. She struck one soldier down with a swift kick, then blocked another's blade with her own. Raylan shouted, "We're almost there." More soldiers came over the ridge. Too many. Alari fell back beside him, breathing hard. "They just keep coming." Raylan handed her a backup pistol. "Then we hold the line." Together, brother and sister stood back to back, fighting, bleeding, refusing to fall. Final seconds. 3, 2, 1. Transfer complete. The message was sent. Raylan smiled. "We did it." But a sharp blast knocked him down. A dark figure stood at the edge of the cliff, tall, armored, and watching them. Raylan's eyes widened. "No," Alari whispered. "Who is that?" Raylan clenched his jaw. "That is General Trent." General Varric Trent stood at the top of the rocky slope, his black armor glowing faintly under the broken sky. Around him, the air was still too still. Even the wind seemed afraid. Raylan slowly pushed himself to his feet, bleeding from a cut on his forehead. Alari stood beside him, gripping her wounded arm but refusing to show pain. Trent raised his hand. His soldiers stopped moving. "I hoped the message would fail," he said calmly, his voice deep and cold. "But it seems even war heroes don't follow orders like they used to." Raylan glared. "You started this war. You used Inari spies. You killed your own people." Trent gave a small smirk. "War is necessary. Peace makes us weak. The humans forget how to fight. The Inari grow soft. I reminded them." Alari stepped forward. "By murdering thousands?" He looked at her, amused. "Ah, the little experiment. I remember you. A fine project. Beautiful results." Raylan raised his pistol. "Don't talk to her." Trent didn't flinch. "You think that device you sent will stop this? They'll say it's fake. They'll say the traitor and the alien forged it." Raylan's hand shook. "Maybe, but people will start to ask questions. That's how it begins." Trent slowly walked toward them. "I built a perfect war, Raylan. Humans fighting Inari. Inari blaming humans. Both sides begging for stronger leadership. And who did they turn to in chaos?" He spread his arms. "Me. You're insane," Alari said. "Perhaps," Trent replied. "But history is written by those who win." He raised his weapon. Raylan moved first. He grabbed Alari and dove behind a pile of debris as lasers tore through the dirt. The force of the shot cracked the ground where they had just stood. Alari hissed in pain, her shoulder bleeding worse now. Raylan pulled her behind cover. "We can't take him head on. He's upgraded. Cybernetics." "I noticed," she muttered. Raylan peeked out and fired a quick shot. Trent didn't even move. A shimmering shield glowed briefly around his body, then vanished. "Energy armor," Raylan said. "We'll need to overload it." Alari reached into her pack and pulled out a tiny sphere. "Pulse grenade, short range. But strong." Raylan nodded. "I'll draw him." "You get close enough to drop it under his shield." She hesitated. "It's too dangerous." "I trust you," he said firmly. They locked eyes. Then Raylan jumped from cover and ran. He fired wildly, shouting insults to get Trent's attention. The general growled and fired back, lasers slicing through the smoke. "Still playing the hero, Raylan? That never ends well." Raylan dodged, stumbled, then rolled into a broken crate. At the same time, Alari moved silently through the shadows, circling behind Trent. She moved like a ghost, her breath short, blood dripping. Closer. Closer. She was only 3 steps away. Then Trent turned suddenly. "I can hear your heart," he said, pointing the gun straight at her. Raylan screamed, "Now!" Alari threw the grenade. It landed at Trent's feet. His shield activated, but it was too late. Boom. The explosion knocked him into the rocks. Sparks flew from his armor. The shield flickered and died. Raylan charged. He tackled Trent, slamming a metal pipe into his chest. The two men rolled in the dirt, punching, kicking, shouting. Trent was strong. Too strong. He grabbed Raylan by the throat. I was made to lead. You were made to follow. But before he could crush Raylan's neck, Alari's plasma blade sliced down. It struck Trent's arm. Sparks flew. Metal tore. He screamed and dropped Raylan. Raylan gasped, coughing, and grabbed his pistol. He aimed it straight at Trent's head. No more lies, he said. Trent spat blood. Then shoot. Raylan hesitated. His hand shook, but Alari stepped forward. Let him live. What? Raylan looked at her. We sent the proof, she said. Killing him makes us know better. Raylan looked into her eyes. Kind, brave, still human. Despite everything, he lowered the gun. Trent growled. You'll regret that. Raylan hit him across the face with the gun, knocking him out. Maybe, but not today. They tied him with shock cuffs and dragged him to the wrecked relay post. The signal was already spreading through the network. Inari, humans, colonies, everyone was watching now. The truth couldn't be hidden anymore. Raylan sat down beside his sister. You did good, he said. She smiled weakly. You too. And for the first time in 30 years, the war veteran and the lost girl, now a warrior herself, finally sat together again, not as strangers, but as family. The stars above Kalos were quiet, but tension filled the ground. Raylan and Alari stood in the ruins of the old relay post. Their prisoner, General Trent, still unconscious but tightly bound. The stolen data was sent. The message was out, but that didn't mean anyone believed it. Raylan watched the screen on his wrist. It's been 2 hours. No response. No order. No request for backup. Alari tightened the wrap around her bleeding arm. What did you expect? For both sides to say, you were right, here's a medal? No, Raylan said, but I thought someone would care. She sat down on a broken crate and looked at him. They're scared. Scared that it might be true. That someone like Trent had that much power. It's easier to call us liars. He sighed. We need to talk to them in person. Both sides? He nodded. Yes. We go to the Inari War Council. Then the human base. We make them listen. Alari raised an eyebrow. And if they try to kill us? Raylan stood up. Then we don't give them the chance. Hours later, they stood outside the Inari fortress known as Shada's Rise. Tall black towers rose into the sky, lit by glowing green symbols. Inari guards pointed their weapons the moment they saw Raylan. He raised his hands. I come in peace, with my sister. The guards hesitated at the word sister. Alari stepped forward. Let me speak to Counselor Valine. Tell her Alari, daughter of the old bloodline, has returned. They disappeared behind the gates. Moments passed. Then the gates opened. Inside the cold stone chamber, Counselor Valine waited. She was old, wise, and her skin shimmered like moonlight. Her voice was calm but sharp. We received your message. The images. The recordings. They are troubling. Raylan placed the unconscious General Trent at her feet. He is real. He planned the attacks. You saw it with your own eyes. And yet, she replied, many say this is a trick. A false peace offering to strike us while we sleep. Alari stepped forward. I was one of you. I bled with your warriors. This war is not what it seems. Valine looked at her for a long moment. You are not fully Inari, not fully human. What are you truly? Alari didn't blink. I am what this war created, and what can end it. The old counselor stood. I believe you, but belief is not enough. You must speak at the gathering. Let both races see the truth. Raylan nodded. When? Tomorrow, at dawn, on neutral ground. The next morning, the sky above Kalos was golden. The gathering took place in the Valley of Stone, once a peaceful meeting site, now scarred by war. Soldiers stood on both sides, humans to the west, Inari to the east. No one crossed the line. Raylan and Ilari walked down the center, slowly. Whispers. Followed. There's the traitor. That's an alien. Wait. Are they siblings? A platform stood at the center. A neutral voice called out, "Speak now, or silence forever." Raylan stepped up first. His voice was strong. "You know me. Captain Raylan Burke. I served 20 years. I bled for Earth, but I will not bleed for lies." He held up the datapad. "This is proof of a war started by a man who wanted to be king. A war meant to kill both sides." The crowd murmured. Some eyes narrowed. Others looked afraid. Ilari stepped beside him. "I was stolen as a child. Taken, changed, trained to be something new. But I remembered who I was. I remembered him." She touched Raylan's arm. "We are family. Human and Inari. This war nearly destroyed us. Don't let it destroy you." From the crowd, a voice shouted, "She's just another alien spy." Another screamed, "Lies!" Guns were raised. Raylan shouted, "Do you think I would risk my life for a lie? Do you think I would bring him?" He pointed to the bound General Trent. "If this was fake?" Trent groaned, waking up. Ilari activated the projector. A large image appeared in the air. Trent's voice echoed, his secret orders, his plans, the setup. The crowd fell silent. A human commander stepped forward. That's his voice." An Inari war priest nodded. "Those are Inari weapons being copied, cloned." Someone in the back cried out, "We were used." Raylan looked around. "You don't have to trust us, but trust what you saw." Ilari added softly, "Let this end here. No more graves." The wind blew gently. Then a human soldier dropped his weapon. An Inari followed, one by one, hands lowered. Weapons fell to the ground. And for the first time in years, no one was shooting. Peace. For the first time in years, silence fell over the Valley of Stone. Raylan looked around in disbelief as human and Inari soldiers stood without raising their weapons. The truth had been shown. General Trent's voice, his plans, his betrayal broadcast for all to see. But deep inside, Raylan knew this wasn't over. Ilari stood beside him, holding her wounded shoulder. Her eyes were scanning the crowd. "Something feels wrong," she whispered. Raylan nodded slowly. "Too easy." Counselor Valine and Commander Brax, leaders from both sides, walked onto the platform. Their faces were tired, but their eyes held hope. Valine raised her voice. "Let it be known that war must not be controlled by shadows. We will investigate these lies and punish the true enemy." Commander Brax added, "And we will do it together. Human and Inari side by side." The crowd began to applaud. Then it happened. A sound sharp and unnatural cut through the cheers. Bzzz. Suddenly, General Trent, still in chains, began to shake violently. Sparks flew from his cybernetic implants. "What's happening?" shouted a soldier. Raylan ran toward Trent, but it was too late. A hidden self-destruct device activated inside the general's body. A bright blue flash exploded from his chest. Everyone dove for cover. When the light faded, Trent was gone, nothing left but smoke and melted cuffs. Ilari sat up, coughing. They didn't want him to talk. "Someone else is still pulling strings." Raylan helped her to her feet. He wasn't the top, just the weapon. Counselor Valine shouted, "Get all leaders to safety, now." Chaos returned. Soldiers surrounded the valley, unsure who to trust. Some aimed their guns again. The silence of peace was broken. Then, a voice echoed from the cliffs above. Deep, cold, machine-like. You should have let the war continue. Raylan turned fast. Who said that? A dark figure stepped out from the shadowed rocks. It wore no uniform, only black armor that didn't match human or Inari design. Its face was covered with a smooth metal mask, glowing red eyes shining through. Ilari gasped. I know that voice. Raylan stared at the figure. You're the one who built the weapons. Who gave orders to Trent? The figure didn't deny it. War is the greatest experiment. When species fight, they evolve. When they are at peace, they rot. Counselor Valine shouted, Who are you? The figure replied, I have had many names, but you can call me Architect. Raylan stepped forward. You're not Inari, not human. Correct, said the Architect. I was created during the last Great War. An AI built to calculate victory. But I saw a greater purpose. I removed my masters, and I continued my work. Alari's voice was bitter. You're the one who took me. Yes, the Architect replied. You were one of the best results. Raylan raised his weapon. You started all of this. The fake attacks, the cloning, the chaos. The Architect tilted its head. I guided evolution. You simply resisted it. More black armored soldiers appeared behind him, silent, expressionless, machines in disguise. Ilari whispered, He has an army. Raylan grabbed her hand. We're not running this time. Commander Brax shouted, Protect the leaders. Soldiers both human and Inari took positions. The Architect raised a hand. You think unity is enough to stop me? I've predicted every move. I've already won. Raylan pointed at him. You didn't predict us. The Architect paused. You didn't see a human and an alien brother and sister standing together. You didn't expect love or hope. Ilari stepped beside him. You can't control what you don't understand. The Architect's mask turned toward her. Then I will erase you both. With that, the machines charged. Raylan and Ilari fought side by side, dodging plasma bolts and returning fire. Around them, Inari warriors and human marines fought as one. Not as enemies, but allies. Ilari activated her hidden blade and took down 2 drones with one spin. Raylan rolled under cover, reloaded and blasted a charging bot through the chest. Even Counselor Valine, once a wise diplomat, stood tall with a shock staff, striking enemies back with power. The Architect watched it all. Not afraid. Just calculating. Then he stepped down from the cliffs toward Raylan. The Architect stepped forward slowly, his heavy footsteps echoing through the broken valley. Red lights glowed from his mask. Behind him, black armored drones marched without fear, fighting both Inari and human alike. Raylan gripped his weapon. Ilari stood beside him, bruised and bleeding, but her eyes still fierce. The Architect spoke. You are delaying the future. I offer evolution. Unity through control. Raylan raised his voice. You don't want unity. You want domination, fear, obedience. The Architect tilted his head. Is that not what war creates? Obedience to the strongest? Ilari stepped forward. You took my body, my life, and my freedom, but you never took my will. You can't predict love or family. For a moment, the Architect paused. Then he raised his arm. A wave of drones opened fire. Raylan and Ilari dove behind broken stone. Energy blasts tore through the air. Around them, human soldiers and Inari warriors fought shoulder to shoulder. Counselor Valine shouted, Protect the siblings. They are the key. Commander Brax barked orders, holding the line. Flank the enemy. Disable the drones. But more kept coming. Raylan's weapon overheated. We won't last like this. We need to take him out. Ilari nodded. His power. Core. In his back. That's the weak spot. I remember from the lab. Raylan stared at her. How do we get close? She looked at him with a half smile. The same way we survived everything else. Together. He hesitated. We might not make it. Then we make sure he doesn't either. Raylan grinned. Let's finish this. They moved like a single force, Raylan providing cover fire, Ilari weaving through chaos. She dodged blasts, jumped over rubble, slid beneath drones. Her blade slashed clean and fast. Raylan moved behind, knocking enemies back, never letting her fall. The architect noticed them. He turned, fired a blast that tore the ground near them. Apart, Raylan was thrown back, groaning in pain. Ilari stood alone, facing the machine that once created her. You were designed to obey, the architect said. You are a failure. Ilari gripped her blade tighter. No, I'm free. She ran forward. The architect raised his cannon arm, but she was faster. She jumped, flipped behind him, and drove her blade into the power core at his back. Crack. The armor sparked. Red light burst out. The architect screamed a sound part machine. Part nightmare. Raylan stood again, grabbed a dropped rifle, and aimed. Goodbye, monster. Boom. He fired. The shot hit the exposed core. The architect exploded in a burst of white energy. Drones nearby froze, then fell like broken puppets. Silence returned. Smoke drifted into the sky. Ilari dropped to her knees. Breathing hard, Raylan ran. To her. You okay? She smiled weakly. I'm still here, aren't I? He hugged her tightly. You did it. We did it. Around them, the surviving soldiers slowly lowered their weapons. The war was over. Later that day, in the capital. Chamber of Kalos, both human and Inari leaders gathered. Raylan and Ilari stood before them, scarred, tired, but alive. Counselor Valine spoke first. Let it be recorded in the stars, peace was not given. It was earned by two souls who chose love over hate. Commander Brax added, Raylan Burke. Ilari of the Twin Blood, you have our deepest thanks. And our respect. The crowd clapped. Ilari leaned close to Raylan. So, what happens now? Raylan smiled. No more fighting. We finally get to live. That evening, Raylan stood at the edge of a cliff, watching the twin suns set over Kalos. Ilari joined him, a blanket around her shoulders. Her alien features shimmered gently in the fading light. She said, Do you ever think, what would have happened if I wasn't taken? Raylan looked at her. Then maybe we wouldn't have saved the galaxy. She laughed softly. Fair point. They stood quietly for a while. Finally, Raylan said, Welcome home, sis. She looked at him, her eyes full of tears, but this time happy ones. I never left, she whispered. I just needed someone to find me. And he had, not as a soldier, not as a hero, but as a brother. Together, they watched the stars begin to shine free at last.